everyone here tonight, and thank you for coming. And we're going to have our pledge of allegiance, and then Brother Jeff's going to give our invocation. Ed, I'm going to ask you to relate to our pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this day, for the opportunity we have to gather out on this evening. We appreciate the safety and the guidance that you've provided. And as we take part in this wonderful privilege and wonderful liberty of our local government, we ask that you watch over our leaders, give them wisdom and insight, help them to be able to lead our community. We pray for their protection, and we ask that, Heavenly Father, you'd be with the citizens of the community and help us to realize that we are responsible as well for the well-being of our community. We pray for the men and women in service. We thank you for the return safely of the 877 to our community, but we realize that the men and women who are in the field of military service, they are the sons and daughters, the fathers, the husbands, the mothers, the relatives of others. So we pray for them and thank you for their defense of our country and the help and provision of our liberty. Again, we thank you for our community. We ask that you help us to always be mindful of those less fortunate, and we give you thanks for the many blessings you bestow upon us. Thank you very much in Christ's name. Amen.
First item on the agenda tonight, approve the minutes from 12/1 and 12/15, which I think we just got. So we didn't have a chance to get those sent out because still Jan being out all last week and today. So if you haven't had a chance to look over them and want to wait, we can wait, come back to it, and we can also put it at the next meeting. If you want to, go on and come back to it later. All right, let's move on to the second recommendation bill. Recommendation to approve the accounts payable. Is there a motion to approve those bills?
I make a motion that we approve those bills. Look at most of them.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Number 3 is a recommendation to change. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're right, Scott. My bad. I went straight to the agenda and forgot. First thing we need to do is back up here is have our public hearings. We have Jolinda Sherrill has some property and Martha Williams has some property. For the first one, since Jolinda's here, we'll go ahead and have our public hearing on that. Is there any questions or concerns, or anybody has a comment on Jolinda Sherrill property?
Well, first, let me apologize because I'm scattered. I'm running late tonight, and I tried to get all this gathered up, and I've been looking at it off and on all day. And if somebody will check me, that will be great. But I'm pretty sure it ran in the newspaper wrong, that this parcel is not a parcel. So there's too many numbers in it, so when you run it, it comes up not being a parcel. It's not your piece of property. So I brought the newspapers. I gave Scott a copy of what I think it ought to be, but I'm almost 100% sure that it ran in the newspaper. It has too many digits in it, and when you type it in, it's no parcel whatsoever.
Let me back up just a second since you just got here. What I have here for us to vote is correct on the ordinance on yours. It did run in the paper accidentally wrong. It was not the fault of the property owner. Me and Marla went over everything they filled out today. Went back over the original when Jolinda filled hers out and Marcus filled his out. What happened was we sent it to Nathan. Nathan reviewed it and accidentally sent the wrong numbers by typo or some honest mistake back to us to forward to the paper. So it did run incorrectly.
Both times.
Both times.
So do we need to rerun that?
But what I asked Scott, if there wasn't any opposition, could we vote on it, even if we had to post it again? Because the public hearing is for the property, and what we're actually voting on tonight is the correct ordinance and the correct numbers. we went, what you got here, and what you got on our agenda is exactly what was on the correct to start with. So, unless there's opposition from the public, would it be okay to vote on the ordinance? And even if we had to publish the parcel numbers again? And you're just getting this too, Scott, this afternoon, because,
If we vote on pass, we'll see if runs again.
Is this,
well, if it needed to be correctly in the paper, as far as what we're voting on is correct.
I wasn't understanding the first notice was incorrect and then the second notice was correct.
No, they're
I think
both
the
wrong.
second one was wrong too.
I mean, the final notice, I think, was correct. The
Final
second one
notice.
just copied the first one. so.
There was just two.
Right, the first and second. The final notice, if we publish it after tonight, would be correct. And Nathan didn't notice it until afterward because after he realized the mistake, he'd been on vacation and we didn't catch it. And they didn't have time to run again because of the holidays. So I mean, it was nothing that nobody did inadvertently. The property owners did theirs exactly like they should. We sent it to Nathan. He accidentally got it wrong, even though we sent it correct, and he apologized today for that. But the last 2 weeks, there's not been anybody here much, so, and he wouldn't have had time to run again before tonight.
I guess you'll speak to what she's doing on the property.
John, would you like to just tell us what you're doing with the property? You're gonna build
Building two houses.
side by side.
Yes.
are these condos, Jolanda, or garden home,
One story,
one story?
single, Bruce Mill with an ADU.
Is everybody aware of where you're building this?
Yes, I've already got dirt in and it's graded and everything, so yes.
And what it is it is a B1, it has to be an R2.
That's correct.
And that's what it stated, this had the wrong parcels and the wrong address. It had, I think it had National Avenue in the paper.
Okay, so it's going from a B1 to an R2,
Exactly.
not
Not what was in there.
what was in the paper.
Right.
So will it be on National or will it be somewhere else?
No, it's on the corner of James
So,
Crone,
Scott,
Second Avenue.
Those numbers don't match, if that's what you're looking at,
I've got the paper.
because it lessens the requirements if it's an R2 from an R1.
Well, if you've got the correct notice, and Jolanda's got the correct information, and then you run it afterwards, what's the big deal about not voting on it tonight? I have no problem with it.
I don't either because it just delay another month.
Okay.
You know what you're saying.
And I'm not gonna do that.
These were their means, to go from a B2 to an R1, but you're saying that we're going from a B2 to an R2?
Right, well, that's what it's. B1 to an R2.
B1 to R2.
Okay, but that's not what the minutes for the planning and zoning board say. See, that's why I'm so mixed up. There's so many different things. The minutes say one thing, the newspaper says one thing, and
What we have here is correct. So,
The form says R2 because there will be two dwellings, not
Right.
one.
right.
And R2 is,
An R2 lessens it so they would both fit. An R1 would just allow for one because there's not enough room.
right.
And that's what the minutes said, and that's what I was going by.
and it ran as an R2, correct?
No,
From what I have, it's got R2.
They may have.
is that little copy? You've got a copy of it on the back of what I gave you.
I meant in the,
You got a copy of the newspaper?
yeah.
Yes, it says B1 to, no,
R2.
is that the right one?
Yeah, it's the last one that says B1 to R2.
Okay. So the only thing that's wrong on that one then is the number, the parcel number.
Parcel numbers wrong. honest mistakes are made, and they don't usually happen over technicality as a parcel number being wrong, but it did this time. Nathan's usually very thorough.
Well, that should never been a zone of business in the first place.
Well, it might have been an opportunity for a business to be in that lot at one time, or, you know, if the city had interest in it at one time, it would have been good for a business there, since businesses are around that area, so.
The whole house is up through there now.
There's a dentist office across the street from the gas office, so. I know, but that, you know, that could have been general business for several years. Anyway, Scott, would it be okay to vote as we got it presented tonight, because we got it correct on the agenda?
It is,
We
looks like
double
it's
checked.
correct on the agenda, and there were a couple of issues with the publication, and I finally picked up on here. It's got the zero, added zero, is that right?
Right.
Issue on it. It concerns me a bit that we do have the wrong address and the wrong parcel number on there. I think it could be argued that it's sufficient enough to give notice as to which parcel that we were talking about, which is the main thing. But I think it's y'all's call as to whether we should. Maybe, Joanna, you could tell us about your project in building the homes. You've got some basic work going on at the property. Would there be an issue with the delay of another month or so?
Are you ready to start?
Yes, they're ready to start.
Just waiting on these.
A month ago. And that's, you know, could the correction be made in the paper? I mean, the public hearing is correct. If there's no opposition to public hearing, I don't know why you can't do it. All you're correcting is a simple typo mistake. That's what the public hearing's for.
We don't have nobody, why did we send them to Willingham first place?
But they help us with all of it. And they call that's what they do.
We just don't look over them after we get them back. Lean.
Well, 99.9% of the time they're
So
correct. We send them.
there's typos in Wapa's too.
Yes.
So if we go and let Jolanda go ahead and do hers with the typos, we're gonna have to let Wapa go ahead and do his with the typos.
That's right.
But some of his never even ran, because one parcel ran twice. It got zoned to be two different things. It ran in one column to be zoned one way, and then it ran in the next column to be zoned the next way. So part of his never ran.
That's true. So what I'm saying is what we're voting on tonight is correct. So, I mean, I'm not for putting it off another month. I can accept
There's no issue,
an honest mistake.
there's no issue with the western property that Mr. Williams owns, is that correct?
It never ran in the paper.
Okay. I just sent the notices, but that was never run in the paper.
I couldn't find it,
I
Cal.
think it is.
The only thing that I found, and you've got the copy of the paper there. I told you.
Have nothing to do with that. Legal. It's enough to keep up with y'all. I don't.
We got plenty to talk about this.
Oh. It's nice to be this quick.
I don't see them anywhere in this paper. This one ran
Anyway, we don't know what. We'll work, we'll help you I'm not in charge of refund. Unless you got a job for me, I made it a garbage job.
But you have with the city.
About one day we'll do it for me and free.
Me too.
Miss Evans is good one. This is the one, that's his shop, that's the station. No, it's this number.
Scott, are you saying whether they do this legally or not?
This is the one.
Yes.
47.
We are?
He had to say it.
And you want to go to something else?
With the proper information in front of us. Like, then rerun it in the paper. We can't spend all that.
It's the legal one that wants to do two different things.
Scott, is it okay to vote on that? Last week item, we know there's a typo, we know it's an honest mistake, there's no reason to delay it another month.
Let me give some different answers. I think on Miss Cheryl's property, I'm okay with going ahead on that. I mean, y'all can choose not to. I'm okay with going ahead on that because I believe
It rained.
from a procedural due process standpoint, the parcel number was correct. There's the extra zero where all those zeros are that would give some concern, but I'm okay with that giving enough proper notice to run that. I'm concerned about Mr. Williams' property. The western property doesn't look like it was run the notice, and the notice was ran properly. One of the parcels was done twice. I'm okay with that. If y'all want to, 47 and 82 ran separately, one as an M1 industrial and the other as a business. It was ran twice. And 47 was listed as both M1 industrial and as a business. I think y'all can change that. Y'all don't have to go by the recommendations of the Planning Commission. Y'all can change that to a suitable designation, if you like. I think there was notice that we were coming here on those parcels, so y'all can vote on that. The western property, I don't see any notice whatsoever on it. So definitely that one needs to be redone. The clearer way would be to completely redo it, but there was at least a notice that there was going to be a public hearing on rezoning those particular parcels in town.
So we can do one tonight, we can't do the other?
Right. The cleanest way is to do, redo, but I think we can do
The cleanest way is what?
to redo.
Can't do the one out at Weston about the buildings,
Right.
but you can do the one next to the apartments there because it did run. Fine.
We at least gave notice that we were having a public hearing on rezoning.
Right.
the property.
And we can vote on the rest tonight.
I'm okay with that.
Thank you. Is there any other questions about that? We'll get to that in just a few minutes, Joanne. Next item on the agenda will be a recommendation to change our next Monday meeting will be instead of being January 19th, we move to January 20th because of Martin Luther King Day on that Monday. City Hall will be closed that day. Is there a motion to change that meeting to Tuesday night?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, great. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. One of the things the recommendation to approve the holiday for 2015, actually all the holidays that we take are been pre-approved in the previous administration, by the holidays administration, that these are holidays are taken each year. This is just specific days that 2015 holidays will be taken. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Since Linda's here, we'll move down to her ordinance, which would be number 12. And we'll get Jan to number this ordinance we got in here. Since she wasn't here, we couldn't number it. It'd be a recommendation to immediate consideration of ordinance number, and we'll get that put in to amend the city's Hamilton zoning map. So is there a motion for immediate consideration?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Tim, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This would be identified as parcel 490908 344 302 in Marion County. It's being rezoned from B1 general business to R2 residential, so she can do her product there. Is there a recommendation to approve this ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Greg, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Francis, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. You can start construction if you get some good weather. Hopefully that won't be much longer. While we got the ordinances, let's go ahead and do the one that we can for Watha. That is the one that is moving from residential to general business. This is a lot up there by the old Church of Christ where we have some property. Walker wants to do a project there, move some equipment stuff on that lot, buy that apartments, and it needs to be changed on the lot there from residential to general business. So was there a recommendation to approve this ordinance number?
Wait, is that gonna be parcel 47 and parcel 82?
That is, no, it is one, it is parcel,
47.
So not the old Church of Christ building?
No, it's the brick house behind it.
Okay,
I drew it in on there. It's
okay,
that
yeah,
little.
that was
it's
my
not-
understanding, was it was just 47.
Yeah.
But this had 82 on here as well, so that's why I was confused. So it's just 47? Okay.
So, this little place right here, you see how this .14 tenths of an acre that's got this house on it, it's just this right here in line.
that's my understanding.
Is it carrying it down?
No, well, this, I think it's right here, actually.
Oh, this is the other one, the other number, and it's getting its own something else.
It's not B1.
It's going from FAR to Inwood.
Got it right here.
Oh, that's right. I was looking at that. This is how it ran.
Yeah, I know. Well, on those two, let's just not do it. We'll make sure that it runs right.
We can't do his tonight?
We can do one, if Scott says we can, we'll make sure we got the right number.
I think we can do parcel 47.
Done one, let's move on and do the other.
That's good.
So which number is on here?
It's number 10 on here.
And that's where the commercial parking lot's going.
Yes.
And it ran correctly? It ran both times, but one time was correct.
I think it ran both times correctly. It just also had a duplicate saying it was going to light industrial as well. But the second time, in this second column, it ran the way it should have run. 2 parcels at Weston, and he put the 2 parcels in town instead of the parcel in Weston for that property. But then 47 is advertised the way 47 is supposed to be advertised.
Now, the 2 pieces property, one in Weston and one up here.
Yeah, he has 2 different locations. The one in
Where the
Weston,
storage
Run
building.
it all.
Where's it?
the one in Weston where he has his storage building, he wants to build storage buildings like the other metal buildings with the roll-up doors. That has to be like M1 light industrial. Cannot be business. So, and it's currently FAR.
What's it gonna be used for?
He's gonna build storage buildings like Steve Rogers has on the one in Weston. Where his buildings are now, that's where he's gonna do it.
Where's
But it's
storage
currently-
buildings? Where's storage? Storage.
Storage buildings.
Structures are.
Structures, right. And in our court of ordinance, it has to be a M1 light industrial for that type of construction.
But that didn't run. Better not go that deep in it then.
But the other one, by his building, by his location, is correct,
47.
which is number 10.
Yeah, 47 did run. Properly. It just ran twice.
I make a motion for immediate consideration.
There you go. Is there a second?
I'll second.
For which,
Number 10.
Number 10.
Just for this little bitty
one up
parcel.
here, by Church Drive, old Church Drive.
That little
Right.
bitty slot.
I vote yea.
Okay. All in favor, hey?
Yes.
Now to accept it. Is there a motion to accept it?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, great. All in favor, say aye. Thank you very much. Okay. And we got that straight.
So we got one piece of property,
One left to get corrected.
and we got to run it for 2 more weeks.
Yes. Which we'll try to get that information to the paper tomorrow. And if it makes it by the next meeting, that'd be great. If not, be the first meeting in February.
We didn't have it in the past, did we drop the ball on that one?
No, I think Nathan accidentally dropped it. I mean, he apologized for it. It's just, we sent it correctly.
I was ready for my
The
man.
homeowner, property owner, they filled everything out correctly. And he sent it to us to forward to the paper, and he just dropped the ball. So,
Sometimes it happens.
it's one of the things. This time, before we go to number 5, I'd like to have a motion to go executive session just for a few minutes. Not for interview, but for a good name and character. Scott, is that okay? Is there a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Be meeting with Brad McDonald. To go back into regular session.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Next item on the agenda is a recommendation to hire Brad McDonald.
Do we vote on the return?
Oh, all in favor, say
Yeah,
Aye.
that's what I thought.
aye. Is there a recommendation number 5 to hire Brad McDonald as police officer with effective hire date of 1/19/15, 2 weeks from tonight, starting pay for this particular job is $15.11 per hour.
Is that the correct pay?
It is.
I make a motion that we hire, Brad, and probation 1 year. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mayor, next time we do something like this, I'd like for it to be posted, and I let it slip, to be where people locally could apply for these jobs.
Okay. You talking about sending somebody to
So
school?
we'll send them to school if we hire somebody within the city limits of Hamilton.
Sounds good to me. That's what we'll post next week. Number 6 is a recommendation to purchase bleachers for ball field We had this a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago, and Lynn, I got your 3 estimates here. Which one was your recommendation? I think Stadium Pros had the best price, of what we needed. And, see, actually, that you was wanting to recommend.
It was the 8-row, 30-foot long for the home side and 5-row, 27-foot long for the visitor side.
And this is for the high school baseball field, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve this?
What's, that total cost is gonna be, what, 24,000 roughly?
23,875.
Can we take this out of the rec fund and not use the bond money?
We could if that's your recommendation. My recommendation would be the bond money.
I'm with the bond money.
Wow.
Yeah, I am too.
Why do you want to take it out of the other?
One place we're talking about.
Well, I never have gotten my piece of paper saying just exactly how everything was broken down. So,
We had approximately $8 million. There's 6.4 left. We had about $1 million.
I mean, the budget for that list and the wish list and what was in the budget, because when I asked you, you said everything was in the budget, but then it wasn't all in the budget, and then we were gonna have to shift here and shift there, and go ahead and vote.
Okay.
I make a motion to purchase the bleachers. Second.
You said it's 23,000, it's 75.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
No.
Well,
Okay.
You want the Stadium Pros or?
It's taken from you, sir.
I was gonna ask about the money, he stopped telling about the money, I think, I'm gonna go ahead and vote for it, but I think you need to be using some of this money, if it can be used for water.
We are. We've got $1 million projects going. We have approximately
What's it coming out of?
bond.
I think we need to spend a lot more on the water, cause
We've done approved.
getting these, water hydrants to these people and other water lines is more, important for the bond money, if we had the money, but I'm gonna go ahead and vote for it that way, but like Tammy, probably should come out of the rec money.
Did you remember?
And I have no problem with the bleachers, it's just where the money's coming from and how the bond money's being spent. So, because it's like this, I don't know.
May I ask a question? Has there ever been anything written down as to the plans, the estimation, of course, but plans about how all the bond money would be used that's written down in one list?
No.
No,
Well, when we go to the night and borrow the money, I spelled out specifically, not each item individually, but an approximate price of what everything costs, up to $8 million, plain as day. That's what we're voting on. Had some set aside for hospital water parks, some set aside for fire stations, some set aside for water, some set aside for civic center, some set aside for the rec. Approximately $400,000 for the rec. That's what this part of this would come out of.
But I mean, is it written down on paper to show, just sort of a listing?
Yes, he's got,
We voted on
we
that.
should have seen that a
That-
long time ago.
He presented his proposal of
That's
what
what
the
we
money
voted
was.
That's what we've been voting on.
So,
You
We
can't
didn't vote.
vote
But,
it
but,
down.
but I don't
Yeah,
remember,
vote on the
I don't remember
proposal.
the bleachers,
Wait.
were bleachers in that list?
no,
I
It's in
thought,
that money, the same as somebody, if you had $1 million set aside for the fire department,
Yeah.
well, it's trucks and building and fire equipment and everything, you have a certain amount of money, that's what you work with.
but
that's
I
plain
think
and simple.
that night we voted to borrow the money, not to
Based
go
on-
with the plan.
Well, and
Based
you
on-
vote on each thing each time, and you can't be $2.55 per se each time. It might be $2.57. So you've just got to use some common judgment there and get the best deal you can out of it.
Well, that's
And
what-
everything's documented with it,
Yes.
and it's being taken away from it. It's being subtracted, and you know how much we got left, do we? So, okay.
Let's move on.
It's good enough for me.
Number 7 is a recommendation to accept Henry Peterson's architectural proposal for the fire station. Emily, would you once again explain
Sure.
what we want to do tonight is vote to accept your proposal, but if we see that building or something we want to ask you about changing, possibly design or something in it that we have questions about, concerns with, or want to tweak it a little bit, that's okay, is that not?
Right, yeah.
What we're voting, you'd be over the project.
Correct. What my professional fees would cover would be any design-related changes, and we'll go through several phases. We've kind of already done the conceptual phase, which we've kind of worked out with Tim and Matt a couple of months ago, and then we'll move into what's kind of called a design development phase, where we'll more strategically make sure that everything the way you want it is in the building, and then kind of at that point we'll call it no more changes firm deadline,
Right.
and then I'll move into construction documents where I'll prepare all the documents for bidding, which would be not just the drawings, but the specifications, which would outline, you know, the materials we want to be used and the specific manufacturers that we want to go in there to make sure we get all the products that we want to. And then after that, we'll go into construction. And I'll manage all of those phases, and any engineers that we have to hire, mechanical, plumbing, structural, electrical, civil, will all come out of my fee as
You
well.
take care of all.
I'll take care of all that, and I'll manage it from now until the day you move in, kind of, and so that would all be covered under that.
So what we're doing tonight is hiring you, if you could make us some more drawings, some more plans.
Correct, correct. You're giving me the go-ahead to start the process to get the building biddable.
So
So
you
that
want
you,
this to be architect and engineer combined up to the point of having to hire specific engineers, like you said, mechanical or electrical or
their fee comes under my fee,
comes
so I'll
under your
contract,
fee.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll contract with them myself. You won't have to contract with them
And when will you
separate.
break all of this down? Can you, are you going to be able to break this down?
That, the cost you have in front of you is an estimate based on construction costs that I have from the area and that kind of thing. And my fee is based on that construction cost.
So it
Which
could vary.
it can vary. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what the building will cost today because, you know, in a competitive bid, obviously, that's what you'll have the contractors give you numbers. But the documents that I get ready will go out to, you can, you know, invite them in to bid however you want, or you publish it through the newspaper and have people bid it, however we choose to do that.
But you think this $90 per square foot will be generally
I think
in
that
the neighborhood of
Yes,
being
ma'am.
what we will be dealing with?
yes, ma'am.
And I don't have a problem with you being the architect, but I guess my question is, what about the site prep? I went over there and looked at the lot that I think it is. Are we gonna be using the whole 9 acres?
No, the building itself is only 4,000 square feet, and so your site, you'll have some turn radiuses for those trucks, but no, you won't need that much
Really,
space.
actually an acre, is that?
Maybe less than an acre, most likely.
Does the Industrial Development Board, did they pick which acre? Or how does that
Well-
work? Because, I mean, that 9 acres over there, it looks like this, and it looks like a roller coaster.
I have not specifically dealt with any of that since I haven't necessarily been hired yet, but as soon as we kind of get to that point, we'll meet with the boards that we need to meet with and discuss
They're aware
all
of
of
what
that.
I've already discussed with them one time before.
Is there
It'd
some
be- Right.
possibility of some in-kind?
As much as we can do ourselves, we'll definitely.
Right.
So you don't have any idea, because you don't know the specific location, as to how much the site prep work is gonna cost? Because you don't know where on that 9 acres exactly it's gonna go?
Right. We'll make plans to put it on the most efficient spot possible.
Will you do the geotech, or are we gonna have to just get somebody ourselves?
We'll have to, I'll put it under my fee, but there are, and I can, if you can agree to hire me, I'll get a full contract to you so you can kind of see what's included, and we can negotiate a fee after that. It's just kind of the way that, professional fees are done. You just kind of have to agree to work together and then move from there in terms of working out the kinks. But a geotech will be hired underneath me as well.
So we have no idea what your fees are gonna be.
I can give you an estimate, but until you sign, there are,
I mean, I'm agreeing to spend
right.
everybody in Hamilton's money.
I agree.
So,
I understand
mean,
what you're saying, but there are laws that don't allow me to tell you exactly what my fee is.
Right.
But I can tell you that the fees generally associated with building this cost range from 8 to 10% of the construction cost.
Okay, so if we ask you tonight to be our contract or our architect, and you send us your contract, and it's some astronomical
No,
amount.
it's a negotiation fee. If you agree to hire me, then we can negotiate the fee from there.
Okay.
All I can design, and if we sit down with you as a group and tweak it or add or delete or whatever, it may change the end cost.
Correct.
But what we want is the recommendation we do. So is there a recommendation to hire or accept you?
I'll make a motion to hire.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Thank you. We'll give these just as quick as we can and get the ball rolling.
All right.
One of the things I think Francis talked to me about today was the timeline of construction you had. You think it's, but when would construction be as far as, you think this spring, maybe April, May? Take that long to get it ready?
Yeah, I was a little concerned about the length of time, but then again, I'm sure you know far more about it than I do. It depends, I'm sure, on the weather and a lot of different things. But you really think that it would take, what, 4 or 5 months to build?
It varies based on the weather, and the idea, right now, if we started now, I mean, it will take, by the time we get everybody together and, review drawings and get engineers involved, it's gonna take about, 3 months to get the drawings ready to build, to bid out. You can do it a little less than that. It doesn't take that long necessarily to draw it, but you have 5 other engineers that have to be involved in it, and you have, if y'all decide to meet next week, then I go back and work on something, and it may be 2 weeks before you can all get back together and look at the plans again. So, 9 to 12 weeks is a pretty good, quick schedule in terms of drawings. And then I think in here, 6 months of construction time. That is during tornado season, with a lot of rain, so it's hard I would certainly want to give you an estimate of time and then not be able to meet it based on weather conditions. But there are always ways to get things built faster, if the weather is moving, if there's a reason that you need it earlier, you can always include that in your specifications when we do the documents, and you can say, we need it built in 4 months. That may add a cost to it that I don't have factored in there right now, but there have been many instances where we've done drawings and we put an absolute date by, and, they can meet that date, but it may mean that they work on the weekends, or they may work 24 hours for 6 weeks, or whatever it is that the contractor chooses to do. But that, generally, when you do that, it does add cost to the project. You can't get it for the same amount as you do those type deadlines. So, it may come in less than 6 months in terms of construction, but in the summertime and the amount of rain that we get around here, I wouldn't feel comfortable giving you a lot less time than that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next recommendation is the recommendation to post a street department job, grade 3. The reason for posting this job is we have one employee retiring, Ellen McCarty, at the end of this month. So by the time we get it posted and served, it may be first meeting in February or second meeting in February, by the time we're able to hire somebody to replace Ellen. So we're not adding anybody extra, we're just replacing the one that's leaving. And Mike, you can attest that we need to replace it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. In the past years, there's been as many as 20-something employees down there. We have 11 now, so
I think
we need
at least 70 or 80.
every hand we can get.
Yes. So would there be a recommendation to post this job?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Number 15 is a recommendation to accept proposal from emergency equipment professional, going through HGAC. The last couple weeks ago when we were here, this was to purchase 2 pumper tanker trucks for the fire department in the amount of $576,177 out of the acquisition fund. Tim, can you touch base with us on that just a minute and tell us? We know that the prices were only good for 2
Yeah,
weeks.
I called David today and he said it's still good. Of course, he said he don't know when there'll be a price increase or if there'll even be one. He said, "Feel like it will. They've always been one." And, told him I'd get back with him today and see where we stood on it.
Now, is this through this cost, what was it, company I read about, and talked to you personally, but read about in the paper or from some notes or something out of Texas? This is a way of saving some money. I
Yes, it's
understand.
already bid.
Pardon?
It's a national bidding firm. It's already bid. You don't have to
Okay.
bid the trucks.
Okay.
And my notes said that we're only gonna equip one of the trucks.
That's correct.
So,
Right.
We've got equipment for one of them.
You've got the
It'll
equipment.
be replacing the 83 model pumper. We've got the equipment on that truck. We'll put on one of them.
Yourselves,
Yes.
I see.
We not get to see a picture or they bring one up here to let us look at one before we buy?
Let me see if I've got one in.
Is it a single cab, double
It's
cab?
single cab. It's just like that white truck, not the 4-door cab, the 2-door cab. It's just like that one.
Well, we don't need another 4-door
No,
cab.
it's just like the single, it's a single cab, 2-seat. It's got 2 seats in it.
Did you go down from
front.
that to just a standard cab?
Yeah, that's the standard cab.
my notes say a commercial Freightliner cab. Does that tell you what it is?
A little bit.
Do you have a picture?
I don't have a picture with me. It's just like that white truck
I
over
see.
there. It's
Okay.
basically it's on the same chassis.
Can you own one?
Yeah, it wouldn't be nowhere near it.
Well, that's a good looking truck.
And the one reason we know we have about a year to get a lot of things in order for ISO. And by the time we get these trucks, we're working on a plan with the fire trucks, with the fire station,
Yes.
other improvements that you're making to, and we have to give a report every, what, 30 days or
Every 30
something?
days.
Every 30 days as to how we're moving forward with our progress. And we know it'll be at least 6 to 8 months to get this truck, so it could be possibly August,
Yeah.
September by the time we get ordered and get everything approved.
And that won't go against us, excuse me, that won't go against us by us not having it,
No.
just that we put in for it, we'll be on our side.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And is it the same size as the white truck?
Yes. So
Okay.
it'd be 1,800 gallon instead of that one's, I think, 1,000 gallon.
Okay. So,
It'd be 1,800 gallon.
and that's what we need
Yes.
to meet the requirements?
Yes.
And it's gonna fit in the spaces?
It'll fit in everything we got around.
I
We'll
mean,
build
you
around
know-
it, I guess.
No, not as far as housing, but as far as getting to the location.
Oh, yeah,
Since we're
it'd
using
be
it for a
yeah, it's
shuttle,
basically the same wheelbase as
it's, right,
what
well,
we've
that's
got,
what I'm
yeah.
asking. I mean, it
Just
isn't
got a
gonna
bigger tank on
be
it.
too large
No.
to get in to shuttle the water back and forth.
No.
It's, you understand what I'm
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
That's good, that's good.
I mean, not, yeah, we can throw a tarp over it or
Yeah.
something, but I meant to get the
Good
water.
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Chief Wright? Is there a motion to approve this recommendation?
So wait a minute, if we do it today, if we save $20,000 off this price, if we
That's
prepay,
with it. Yes.
That's prepaid.
Count. That is with it. Is that not?
okay, so
Yeah,
these
that's-
numbers are just that number and this
Yeah.
is the cost.
Yes.
576 is the cost.
That's
Yes.
what they're saying.
Yes.
So that's with the discount.
That's with the discount.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'm second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Thank you. I appreciate the council doing that because it's a long step toward improvements on the east side of town and our whole city, actually. It's not just for the east side, but this help everybody.
Tim, is there anything else besides the building, the trucks, things that you're working on in-house that we are lacking in?
The training and the pre-plans and some of that, and we've already got that addressed and started working on
So
that.
with all this, we should be retaining the,
Forward.
okay. I want to see the certificate if you get one,
Yeah.
when you get it.
Okay,
Can you do
if you don't care, Scott, I may have messed up, so before we go any farther, we just voted to hire Emily as the architect. We did not vote to build the building, correct?
That's right.
Okay, all right, because when we vote to build a building, because I stand to gain financially from the decrease in my insurance, can I vote on that?
Yes.
I can vote on it,
Yes.
even though I stand to gain?
Yes.
Okay, okay, so I had messed up.
Just luck of the
Okay.
draw.
I'm gonna turn you in.
That's a benefit that everyone will receive, so you're no different than.
It wouldn't be seen.
Okay, 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 all right.
Shouldn't draw attention to it, they'll be accusing you of it.
I can abstain, Scott says, I just didn't want to already mess it up.
Okay, number 16 is your recommendation to purchase LED sign from Stewart Signs for $20,337. This would be out of our capital improvement fund. We have approximately $250,000 in this fund that we can use to spend for capital improvements. The reason for go ahead and try to get the sign tonight is the price has been held for us for a couple of months. And if we don't act soon, the price could go up or will go up. And it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get it. But if we, as far as the sign, as far as the design of the sign, if we vote to purchase the sign tonight, and if we want to change the design, we got a few weeks to change it and then get it ordered. My recommendation, go ahead and get it approved, and then, you know, lands or something.
I'll make a motion.
As far as the design or something, we can change it.
You said something about maybe having some statement on it or
We
what,
can talk about that later.
or whatever, but that can come later. So, yeah, that's, he had some good ideas
My
there.
suggestion is go ahead and get it approved. and
I'll
then
second it.
If we want to tweak the design of it, that's fine, as far as what it says on
So I'm glad to see that sign down there.
Francis said. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
No.
Tim's moved, okay. Before we get a motion to adjourn, the minutes. We just got them to you today. If you want to get them, next week we'll do that. We'll approve all three. Apologize, Jan's been extremely sick for
Hey, but
4
there's
weeks,
something
4
we
or 5
need
weeks.
to ask Scott, and I don't even know if they're on that minutes, those minutes. At the last meeting, we passed the RV ordinance that changed the zoning ordinance, but Nathan seemed a little shocked that it had already been passed because I'm not sure that it ran in the newspaper. So do we need to undo that tonight, and then does it need to run in the paper before we vote on it?
Yes, but I thought it had written on the paper. Let's not do anything, let me look at it, and
Okay.
we'll bring it up at the next meeting, but I thought it had run.
It may have, but Nathan seemed surprised when I told him that we had already voted on it.
Okay, that's interesting.
So, and I thought if we had and we needed to undo it, we need to undo it tonight.
Okay, let me look at it and see.
All right, let's wait on the minutes once again to the next meeting.
Mayor, let's vote to table that and vote to table the ordinance on Mr. Williams' property.
All right, on number 8, instead of voting for consideration, we vote to table ordinance. Now I'll get Jan to get the number when she gets back, but it would be the Walter Williams property on Baxter Avenue.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
That's the table. We get it rerun again, correct? Okay. So I'll make sure they get them. Nathan, make sure that's correct. The minutes, we'll just do that the next one also. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor, say aye to table them to the next. Okay. Apologize for that. Before we get a motion to adjourn, I would like to thank our city employees. I think Saturday night they came out in the rain from about 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock to clear streets, cut trees and whatever they had to do after the storms came through. Police department, fire department, and street department got out and did an excellent job, and just want to personally thank them for that. Thank our supervisors for making sure that all of our city employees that got out that night, and you don't have to worry about things not getting done, because they'll do it.
Did we do the minutes? So we.
Y'all come out too, boy? Right? Yeah, they had to come out too, so all our departments came out and made sure everything was good and safe. Okay. Is there a motion to table the minutes?
I'll make a motion to table them till next meeting.
Okay.
That would be the last time or the last two
Good
times?
meeting. Next time we vote will be for 3,
Okay,
all December.
okay. I will do.
second.
Who made the motion?
Francis.
I do.